big story this noon. America remembers the victims of the September 11th terrorist attacks 8 years ago.
Today, remembrances are being held all over the world and here in southern New England in honor of those killed in the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil.
Bells tolled at Ground Zero in Manhattan this morning, where more than 2,700 people were killed. And 2 moments of silence were observed at the exact times that the two planes hit each of the Twin Towers.
President Barack Obama took part in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Pentagon and declared today a National Day of Service, encouraging Americans to do volunteer work in honor of the 9/11 victims.
And in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, loved ones gathered to remember the men and women killed on board United Flight 93.
Eyewitness News reporter Drew Levinson joins us now with more on today's solemn memorial services.
Elizabeth and Vince, it is a blustery day here in the New York, New Jersey area. We're coming to you from Jersey City, New Jersey, right across the Hudson River from where the Twin Towers once stood. Many of the victims were from this area, and today their family and friends, as well as the rest of the country, pause to remember. There were tears in the rain to mark the 8th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks. After a moment of silence to mark when the first hijacked jet struck the World Trade Center, family members and, for the first time, volunteers read the names of the victims.
And my mother, Maxima Jean-Pierre, who worked on the 105th floor of the North Tower.
My little brother is my greatest hero, not just for the way he died, but for the way he lived.
The void where the towers once stood is a reminder that New York City's skyline was scarred. The rebuilding has begun, but time is running out to get a memorial in place by the 10th anniversary of the attacks. President Obama, who signed a bill making 9/11 a national day of service, laid a wreath at the Pentagon where 184 people died.
No passage of time and no dark skies can ever dull the meaning of this moment.
A crowd also gathered in a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. That's where the 4th jet crashed after heroic passengers tried to take control from the terrorists.
Courage. For that is what our loved ones displayed that day. Courage in the face of overwhelming odds.
Though time has passed, the wounds from 9/11 still linger, and the nation is taking time to remember. Because so many of the victims were from this area, this memorial was constructed. It's a girder from the World Trade Center. A reminder we should never forget. In Jersey City, New Jersey, Drew Levinson, Eyewitness News.
Now, as we mentioned, a number of memorial services are also taking place here in southern New England today. This morning, Governor Don Katchuri took part in a remembrance ceremony at the State House. He was joined by the relatives of Amy Jarrett of North Smithfield, a flight attendant who lost her life in the World Trade Center attacks.
You need to remember, we can never forget. And I'd like to see more flags flying and more people remembering, because it's not just what happened to my sister.
Amy Jarrett's nieces and nephews recited the Pledge of Allegiance at today's ceremony to honor their aunt's memory. Members of the Providence Fire Department held their own memorial service this morning in honor of more than the 300 firefighters and paramedics who were killed while responding to the September 11th attacks.
Remembrances are also taking place all over the globe. In Afghanistan, U.S. troops laced up their sneakers today for a memorial run. More than 1,000 service members ran 9.11 kilometers in memory of the 9/11 victims and their fellow troops who died in the war on terror that followed the attacks. And in London, the U.S. ambassador to Britain took part in a wreath-laying ceremony in memory of the 67 Britons who died in the terror attacks. The victims' families were on hand for a private memorial service this morning, and a public concert to honor the victims will be held in London this evening. A reminder now, stay with Eyewitness News all day long for continuing coverage as we remember the victims of the September 11th attacks 8 years ago.
We'll have much more on today's local memorial services in a live report tonight on Eyewitness News at 6.
And you can always log on to our website at WPRI.com for extended coverage, including photo and video galleries from that dark day that shall forever live in American history.